From the great state of Arkansas, please welcome former Governor Mike Huckabee.
Proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The men who
Thank you.
died, who gave that right to me.
What a crowd. And the good news for you is, I've only been given 7 minutes. Jesus, had he been here, would have said, "Blessed are the brief, for they shall be invited again." I want to say thanks to our South Carolina campaign chair and also Director of Americans for Prosperity in South Carolina, Mike Campbell, for helping to make it possible for me to be here. But I also want to say that Mike Campbell didn't show up to do the introduction, which worries me a little bit when the guy that invites you doesn't show up. What does he know that I don't know? Probably a lot of things. You know, we're here today to talk about what this country has to do to get its economy moving for everybody. And everybody's going to come here today and tell you that we need to make some reformations in the tax code. I understand that. But quite frankly, reforming our tax code is not enough. Tinkering with it with a tap of the hammer, a turn of the screwdriver is not what our tax code needs. Our tax code needs something like we understand in the South. When we say that when you can't fix it with duct tape and WD-40, it can't be fixed. Ladies and gentlemen, the tax code of the United States under the Internal Revenue Service can't be fixed. We need to completely scrap it and have something completely different, which means to get rid of all of the taxes on all of our productivity, on income, savings, capital gains, remove the taxes that cost us American jobs, that has chased $10 trillion offshore from the American economy and virtually lost the entire Made in America brand. I would propose that we would replace the tax on productivity with a simple consumption tax that's simple enough that a kid running a lemonade stand would understand it, not the 177,000-page nonsense of the Internal Revenue Service. And yes, I know that that's not likely to happen with the current Congress. So what we do is we tell the members of Congress, if you don't do it, we'll fire you and get some folks who do understand that there's something wrong with our tax code. Today in this country, the average American is more afraid of an audit of the Internal Revenue Service than he is of getting mugged. That's actually true by a survey. And I got to thinking about that, and it made perfect sense, because a mugging only lasts for a few minutes, and they can only get what's in your pocket. When you get audited, they keep coming at you until they have every last thing you get, and it'll take sometimes the rest of your life to ever get it cleared up. That's why the system has to be changed. And by the way, it's not enough just to control how much they take in, but also to deal with how much flows out. I would like to propose that every single transaction of the federal government be subjected to your scrutiny in the sunshine of the light, making sure that every time the federal government writes a check off the Treasury, it's posted immediately on the internet, and you'd know exactly every single thing the federal government spends money on, down to what it costs to mow the lawn at the federal courthouse in your hometown. And the reason this election is going to be so very important is because if the other guys win, as everybody at this podium will probably tell you, taxes go up and expenses go up. But the bigger concern is that they will go up to a proportion that we can't handle in our economy, because it'll be going up to pay for things we can't afford. Hillary says, let's give everybody a card and they can have all the health care they want. Can you imagine if we did that with groceries? Giving every American a grocery card. You could go to the store and shop and put anything and everything in your basket that you wanted, and you wouldn't have to pay for it. Somebody else would pick up the tab. Can you imagine what kind of grocery expenses we would have? We don't have a health care crisis so much in this country. We have a health crisis. 75% of our expenses in health care go toward chronic disease. What we really have is a situation best described as like in that of an NFL football game. 22 people down on the field in desperate need of some rest. 70,000 people up in the stands in desperate need of exercise. That's the picture of America today. And until we address the health issue, simply paying for more health care will only bankrupt us. There are three things this country has to be able to do to be free. One, we've got to be able to feed ourselves, and that's why having an agricultural economy that works is important. A second thing, we have three farmers here. The second thing we have to have is the ability to fuel ourselves. One of the reasons we need to take taxes off of productivity and innovation is because we need to make it a goal that within less than 10 years we become completely energy independent and we no longer depend upon making the Saudi royal family obscenely rich with our oil. And the very money that we're investing in foreign oil comes back to us, but not in a dividend, but it comes back to us in the way of terrorist dollars. And that's why if we're really serious about national security and our own economy, we'll create the capacity to fuel ourselves. And finally, we need to have the capacity to fight for ourselves. A nation that can't manufacture its own weapons of defense is a nation that is dependent upon whoever it's outsourced its manufacturing to. Ladies and gentlemen, if we want to revive and restore the economy, get the government under control, and turn loose the private system of free enterprise and allow people out there to come up with ideas and innovations, but that can happen when you have over-taxation, over-regulation, and over-litigation. That results in job migration. Let's bring those jobs back to this country, end the taxes on productivity, savings, dividends, and yes, even death, and make this country once again vibrant, where we don't have to watch multinational companies move offshore and instead come back here where we can become the tax haven. About a month ago, I was visiting in New Hampshire with a guy working in a machine shop. He's working 2 shifts. He said his daughter is in Cornell in graduate school. It's costing $54,000 a year for her to be in grad school. Now, my first thought was, thank God my daughter's not in grad school at Cornell. Then he said, you know, because I'm working the second shift, I'm not just paying taxes, I'm in the higher tax bracket. I'm now paying more taxes than I used to pay. So the harder I work, the more the government's coming after my enterprise. And I got to thinking, yes, and if you save the money, we tax it. If you invest it in the stock market and get dividends, we'll tax it. And if you buy something and sell it and have a capital gains, we'll tax that too. And should you be so unfortunate as to pass away, then we'll tax you then when you die. And the last thing that you'll see will not be the lid of the coffin. It'll be an IRS agent asking one more thing out of your pocket. In fact, the only way that his daughter can get some assistance would be that if he quit both of the shifts at the machine shop, then she would qualify so the rest of the taxpayers would chip in. Folks, there's something wrong with a system that discourages work and encourages people to sit on their hands. That's not how we build a great and prosperous nation. Let's change the economy, change the tax system. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here. God bless you.